Hello everyone, this is Samit Deb, member of the co-founding team at Navikenz and also the Chief of People Success here. And you are listening to the CHRO Mindset Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the CHRO Mindset Podcast, where we bring you candid, thought-provoking conversations with top HR leaders and experts. And here's your host, Pulkit Joshi. Thanks for joining us on the CHRO Mindset Podcast, where we publish an interview with a CHRO leader and capture their perspectives on shaping modern workplaces. Here's your host, Pulkit Joshi. Join us as we explore the strategic mindset, innovative practices, and leadership insights of top CHROs. Today, we have the privilege of hosting Samit Deb, co-founder and chief of people success at Navikenz. Samit is the co-founder of Navikenz, a consulting firm specializing in AI, ML, and digital engineering services. With leadership experience spanning IT, ITES, telecom, and manufacturing, Samit previously served as CHRO for Bharti Airtel, contributing to its transformation into a digital telco. Prior to that, he spent time in sales and marketing with HCL Limited and Godrej and Voice, and 15 years at Infosys, helping establish strong HR practices and culture. Samit holds an HR Masters from XLRI Jamshedpur and a mechanical engineering degree from GB Pant University of Agriculture and Technology, India. Samit, thanks for taking out time to speak with us today and welcome to the CHRO Mindset Podcast.
Thank you, Pulkit. Thank you for having me here.
It's so very great to be connected and talking to you, right? I know it's been a long time since you hired me in the last role, right? So it's amazing to again connect. And this time you're going to be talking about all things HR and HR technology, which is so exciting. So let's start off, Samit. My first question for you is if you could travel back in time and give one piece of advice to your younger self when you first started your career in HR, what would it be and why?
Yeah, Pulkit, I would tell myself, my younger self, quite a few things, but maybe a couple of things that I would definitely tell that younger Samit. Um, I believe that building a lot of genuine and wider relationship is extremely important, and you need to start early to be successful in life later. So I would definitely ask the young Summit to build that network of genuine people and networks and relationships because that's what would help him in future. The second one is, you know, if you are building a new leadership or an HR, specifically an HR career, you need to be little less insensitive. Many a times people get too sensitive, and in HR, for example, you have to have a little bit of thick skinness, the way I put it. You need to be able to absorb a lot of things that get thrown at you, assimilate it, and find the right solution. But if you don't react, I think, and you keep doing the right things will clear by itself, and you'll be very successful.
Thank you, Sumit. I'm very sure that's going to come handy to a lot of individuals out there who are starting up their career in HR or somewhere in their middle path. So thank you for that. Let's move on. How your career got shaped up as you went through the trajectory, right? And would love to know a little more stories about how things panned out for you. So looking back, what is one decision or risk you took in your career that significantly impacted your growth as a CHRO?
But specifically, if I have to say what I feel looking back, what would have helped me is I was always a little bit of a risk taker. I would never be very comfortable in my comfort zone. If you mentioned that I spent 15 years in Infosys. It was a very large company, growing company, but not more than 2.5 years, maximum 3 years, I would have done a role there. Every 2 years I would, look for something new and reach out to my bosses and take something which I would have not done before that. For example, just like 2.5 years into my HR career, I got an opportunity for a very specific reason to move to US and lead HR initially for the East Coast and then eventually for the whole of the North Americas for Infosys. I had no clue
Wow.
about what US is. That was the first time I was going and supposed to lead a lot of HR there. Um, but I took it. I absolutely took it. Similarly, I took more risks later, moving into from the tech world to the KPO BPO world, which Infosys had as Progeon. Not too many people would
Okay.
have gone into that sector within Infosys because that was not supposed to be the sought after. But I moved there. But all these steps I feel has really helped me to become a more holistic HR professional, understanding various parts of business, which obviously has helped me over the years.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Samit. And I heard one quote somewhere. I can't recall where it was, but the ultimate risk is of actually not taking the risk. Let's shift gears a bit now and get into the A to Z of HR as a function, right? And I know the workplace culture as a topic is very close to your heart and relates to what you're trying to do in your current role. So let's talk about some examples of workplace culture transformation that you have led and the key factors that contributed to its success. Might include collaboration with senior leadership when it comes to aligning organizational values or creating a strong company-wide culture.
No, I think today HR leaders have to play that role extremely well to build cultures because they are really the curators of the culture. But HR leaders cannot do that alone. They would
Hmm.
need to take the whole company together, and definitely the CEO and the top leadership do much to the culture. And I was absolutely fortunate to have got some great leaders to work with. And the specific example I wanted to take is my partnership with my CEO, Anjan Lahiri at Birlasoft. And I know, Pulkit, you and I worked together
Yeah,
there, and we had
yeah,
Anjan as our boss there.
yeah,
Absolutely a superb guy in terms of not only the business, sales and business, but an organization builder, right? And he understood the value of culture and people. And I was able to build a great rapport with my CEO Anjan, and we together worked to build a culture which really helped Buildersoft grow over those
yeah,
5 years that we spent time from a fairly small company you know which really didn't have much of a culture that one could strongly relate to. I think we were able to co-create the culture with a lot of leadership. And you spoke specifically about the values. We together with all our leaders and our people, we created our mission, vision, and values. And that got, and I was really the facilitator. Anjan devising a lot of that, and our post that there was, and DK came in. He was a
yeah,
CEO post Anjan. We all work like a team,
yeah,
crack team,
yeah,
working together to create that culture, I think, which bonded the whole company. And
yeah,
we were able to merge, make the right changes in the culture to make the new culture um, appreciated by the larger builders of that we had
yeah,
built, and
yeah,
and then make the integration so much successful. I think that to me was one of the biggest achievements, I would say, of my
yeah,
HR career. And that wouldn't have happened unless I could foster that relationship with my CEO. Nowadays, CEO CHR relationships are talked about. That's so very important, and we continue to do the same in Navikenz. Navikenz is a young company, but we put the
yeah,
people right in the center of what we are
yeah,
trying to build. So taking people along, understanding what they would like the culture to be, what they would not like the culture to be, and then build the culture along those lines. Then make your
yeah,
practices aligned to the culture that you're trying to build,
yeah,
the values that you're talking about and promoting. Because if these things are not aligned, people see through, and
Yeah,
it doesn't create the impact. Finally, it's all about creating an impact through culture, right? So the
very true.
values, aligning the culture, and people buying that through the practices and what happens on a day-to-day basis is so very important. And I think I was very fortunate to have been part of that period in Birlasoft's history, where we created some absolutely wonderful culture that people uh, came together to create, gelled, and created so much value for all our stakeholders at that point in time, and which continues even now.
So, right, the organization was very fortunate to have you leading the people function out there. And I still remember engaged, challenger, dependable, right? And I still carry the challenger value as a badge of honor. And I was speaking to some senior leaders out there a few weeks back, and I did tell them that once a challenger, always a challenger, right? So it
Absolutely.
that is one value that I've carried along, and it has helped me change the status quo. Never agree with the easiest path. So yeah, those were amazing days, and I truly appreciate how everybody, including you, the leadership, pulled it off. Enough of great things that we have seen in the past, and let's talk a little more about how AI is shaping workplaces. Right, something that you are currently addressing as part of your current organization, Navikenz. So talk to us about the fact that as a co-founder of an AI focused organization, how do you see AI transforming the future of work? That's one. Second, what opportunities do you believe it presents for HR professionals and employees?
I think AI, I'm really, really excited about what AI can do. And we are just scraping, there's the top of the potential of AI. In fact, uh, you know, really our elevator pitch at Navikenz is AI will change your world. Uh,
Hmm.
but
Interesting.
but only 5% of what AI can do to your company is known to you. Neither do I know. However,
Yeah.
we work together to unlock what it can do because we have the right frameworks, people, processes, and technology. Very limited work has
Yeah.
happened, and ChatGPT, generative AI, is opening up
Yeah.
newer opportunities. But everybody is still thinking about what AI can do. But specifically, if you ask me, I strongly believe AI will change the way we work. It's already started doing that. People are also talking about how you don't even have to do coding in future. Everything will
Yeah.
be, you just have to drag and drop and you
Yes.
can create your own stuff. So I think this
Yes.
productivity through automation is one big area. The second one, which to me is a big powerful tool for for HR to use AI and contribute to an organization, is uh, the whole bit of informed decision making with data, and specifically people data.
Hmm.
And it is not just the HR people who can use that that insights that AI can provide,
Yeah.
but they can take it and democratize it by taking it to the people who need that data on a day-to-day
Hmm.
basis to take those
Hmm.
decisions. And AI is
Hmm.
throwing up so many such opportunities. And just on the people front itself, right? When a manager is hiring, if he or she knows, based on various parameters, the kind of person he is, he would be successful in that job, and the person that he is hiring, he or she is hiring,
Hmm.
has those traits. If AI could directly start giving him those insights, the decisions will be so much better. Today, I think in a half an
Hmm.
hour, 45 minutes, people just take some calls, but there is so much of data available over the people about the roles and the jobs, uh, which can be used by AI to really help the hiring manager to take a call, which will help him. Um, and then the big thing about the employee experience,
Hmm.
the whole thing of personalization of various solutions, whether it's for customers,
Hmm.
also for employees. The learning element, the performance element, all that can be so much personalized for our people within the companies using right AI tools. I think HR
Yeah.
professionals, if they start using AI, they will be able to become much more strategic. The kind of data and insights AI will enable them. Um, Not too many people are on their own able to analyze that kind of data. It's time to upgrade what HR professionals contribute to the
Yeah.
organization, and that's what is HR now expected to do. They'll say that we don't get the right people. If I had the right people, I can grow 2x, 3x. HR heads are becoming extremely important to business, and
Mm.
they would need to free themselves up from all the mundane and operational activities
Yeah.
and get more strategic. And AI will help them get there. Um,
Yeah.
they can also enhance the experience of their people by getting the right AI power tools, which will personalize what people want, what employees want, right?
Yeah.
Giving them
Yeah.
an enhanced employee experience. If HR can start providing more data in the hands of the
Mm.
employees to do their job,
Mm. 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 Very true.
regarding the performance, regarding engagement of people to the managers. If the sentiment analysis and where predictive analysis in terms of what's happening with their people, and who should be spoken to. I think that will have a tremendous impact of what HR would be adding at the right
Mm.
levels. And then finally, I feel the whole thing about learning and development and upskilling, not only
Mm.
making people more technology savvy and AI savvy, but also because that's important for them to use some of these tools, but also you know getting them AI enabled tools which will personalize the learning for the employees. I think that's again something HR can definitely play a big
Yeah.
role. And employees, just like I was mentioning, should be constantly looking to skill themselves in this.
Yeah.
If they otherwise AI will just take away a lot of their work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if they are on top of AI, if they know how to use AI more effectively and
Yeah.
get those skills, I think
Yeah.
they'll be more successful and the organization will develop. They should build skills around innovation, creativity. Those are again extremely important. And um, broadly, I would say looking at the skills, looking at using these tools, and be open for the changes that they would need to bring to themselves and to their teams using these newer technologies which are coming in.
What a thorough, comprehensive, and fantastic perspective, Samit. I'm totally in agreement with you, and I've been hearing this phrase quite a lot that it's not AI who's going to take the job away. It's going to be the person who knows how to use AI better than you, right? And secondly,
Yes.
uh, I love the fact that you talked about how can HR get rid of mundane work and focus more on the strategic areas that they need to focus on. And I mean, taking a detour here, but that's exactly, even if you look at the firm that I work for, HR1, our purpose is to ensure that we are able to maximize the potential of an HR professional by helping them focus on what matters the most. So talk to us a little bit about how AI can be leveraged to improve talent acquisition, employee retention, or employee development strategies within your organization. I mean, you have already covered the employee development strategies in the L&D part to a certain degree, but would love to know your perspective on talent acquisition and employee retention as well, please.
These two three areas that you just mentioned, Pulkit. And
Hmm.
I did mention a little bit around on the talent acquisition side, the way AI can help, but let me elaborate. In fact, even when I was in my previous organization, previous organization, Birlasoft, um, I would ask and those days we didn't have AI, but I would ask my team, recruitment team, to go and search what our customers are hiring. we being a IT and services consulting firm, uh, it was it was very useful because if I'm working with the customer X, if I can understand what they themselves are hiring, I'll be able to build that skill upfront early. So today AI provides a lot of that technology, right? If I can parse all the data which is publicly available of all my competition and all my clients about the kind of roles that they are looking for, the skills they're hiring for, I think it is going to be tremendous value to my business. And as HR, if I am able to build on those skills, either internally through learning or
Hmm.
through
Hmm.
hiring, and then
Hmm.
I'll be the smartest guy who will be there in front of the customer and would be able to get the right kind of work done for them, add so much value to them. I think that is one even before hiring, the stuff that AI can do. But just on the hiring front, I think that this tremendous ability of AI, you know, if we know, because job descriptions only tell a little thing, right? But if through all the historical data that you've got, if you're able to
Hmm.
find out what kind of people, either internally or outside, were successful, and there is so many ways we can find it, LinkedIn data, how the person has grown, how they have, what kind of, how long they have been with organizations, etc., etc., right? So there's so much of public data available. If we can use all that to find what are the key characteristics
Hmm. Hmm.
of internally and externally for somebody to be
Hmm.
successful with these kind of job role, for this kind of a job role, and
Hmm.
then try and find out the candidates that we are sourcing and how does that match happen, I think
Yeah.
our hiring success will be so much more. And AI is
Yeah.
slowly starting to play a role there, so that otherwise there's so much of mistakes that we do during hiring. That no fault of the candidate, because they may come from a
Yeah.
different culture, their orientation may be different, and we do so much of disservice to that candidate who joins us and then is a misfit. And similarly to the organization, right? So much of money and time gets wasted hiring those kind of people. So I think in recruitment, we have big ability of how AI can find us the right candidate.
Hmm.
Even by video analysis and many other analysis that AI is starting to do now during interviews.
Hmm.
So I think that is one big area. I believe AI will play more and more role on the engagement side, and I use this in my previous company. Um, we used to find that uh, there was hardly there was no predictive analysis of how engaged people were, who is likely to
Hmm.
leave. And what
Hmm.
we introduced an AI based tool to do
Hmm.
milestone based engagement
Okay.
surveys, short surveys. And then through that we were able to find out how the mood of this individual is changing over a period of
Hmm.
time,
Hmm.
and then relate it with the others in the group.
Hmm.
And we created some kind of alerts to the HR partner so that they would get this message early and they would
Okay.
engage with these people. we also brought
Interesting.
in we also started to bring in information of what's happening with that skill outside. So we
Hmm.
would also
Hmm.
know proactively that these are people with these kind of roles and these kind of skills, which probably are in huge demand. And if we find that there is some kind of a disengagement
Hmm.
upfront, early,
Hmm.
we were
Hmm.
building that engagement. And our SLA was to connect with these people in 48 hours. um, and then work with them to find the issues and challenges that they were facing, and co-create the right solution to engage uh, that individual and people with similar skills or in the team. So the solution also happened to them. So I think in engagement, if you are able to track engagement of people on an ongoing basis, bringing in
Hmm.
other data from other sources, and
Hmm.
AI providing the right insight to people who can make an impact, the HR partner or the senior business leaders in those teams, which is what I had done in
Hmm.
the previous company. We were able to, this was for the digital organization, and in a non technology company, the digital organization was very important because we are trying to become digital, but the attrition was very high, engagement levels were not that great because it was not traditionally a technology company. It was more of a
Hmm.
uh, you know pro, it was a telecom company. So I think that needed the insights, and then how HR strategically connected with the business people, trying to give them these insights and trying to tell them what they should be doing, made HR strategic and definitely added value by engaging and enhancing retention of this extremely critical digital talent that we have. So I have absolutely used AI in engagement in my previous avatars, and I see it has tremendously powerful role in recruitment in days to come, and it's already playing, like I mentioned, a big role in customizing learning. We all
Yes.
know there are enough tools available in the market. They will, based on your a role, based on your level of performance feedback and learning agenda that you and your manager work out, the tool will start recommending courses. uh, so I think exactly like a Netflix would do, right? So I think
Yes.
that's again taking off in a big way. So all the core areas of HR, recruitment, retention, learning, is all getting covered. The other one is about career development.
Hmm.
In career development, internally jobs after a particular time, internally for, and this again for larger companies, jobs get alerts are sent to individuals. You don't have to go and figure out from thousands of jobs in a company which is 200,000, 300,000 people company. There's so many
Hmm.
jobs that is available, right? So you don't have to find a job
Yeah.
outside. You can find it internally, and AI today is able to match many things, without destabilizing the manager and the team. So you need to spend some time there and add some value there. Post that, you could start getting the right alerts.
Okay.
Again, AI is playing a big role in it.
Interesting.
Yes.
Very interesting. I'm totally blown away by the proportion with which AI is changing the entire HR as a function, and I guess this is just the start. There's so much to look forward to. Let's now look at a very different and a unique perspective. Right, it's like a fork in the road, right? So, or maybe some bit of a dichotomy in how one should make a decision, right? So on one side of the spectrum you have a lot of these modern AI based technologies, and then on the other side of the spectrum we're talking about the human touch, right? That brings in empathy, meaning into relationships, or providing that human centric approach, right? So how should CHROs strike a balance between streamlining efficiency using AI, driving innovation, versus taking the human-centric approach?
I'm glad you're raising
Yeah.
that, because I strongly believe that human element is so much required. It cannot be just AI which should drive everything. In fact, I don't know whether you know this. Uh, what is our mission statement as a company, Navikenz? Let me, it a little bit answers what you're asking. Our mission statement at Navikenz is enabling human enterprise with AI to drive a digital future. So we believe that future is going to be digital, and it is going to be through AI. And what Navikenz does is enables human enterprise with artificial intelligence, because human enterprise is absolutely the strongest. You cannot beat it. And AI only is an enabler. So I strongly believe even in HR and everything else, AI needs a lot of lot of hand holding, and the biggest one which we didn't discuss is about the biases. And we know that,
Yeah.
we spoke about recruitment and use of AI. It has backfired with a few companies which tried because they didn't put the human element in it. Amazon hiring had a lot of biases. They started hiring only male people, males, because some analysis, some few past data showed that males are successful in a given role, and AI started generating those kind of solutions and suggestions. So, which is where I think the biases need to be tackled upfront, and that's where human beings and our own knowledge as HR professionals to come in and make the right changes in technology
Mm.
to bring in the right nuances, because technology
Mm.
is really a slave. They are
Yes.
based on what it picks up, like in AI it picks up what is outside. What is outside may not be right all the time, so therefore you need somebody to think that through. So that, to me, the biases are critical to be managed upfront, and that's what people can do. The secondly, HR specifically, you have to have it's a difficult job, extremely difficult job. You need to balance the business requirement with the people requirement. And that's where,
Yeah.
if you just go by data, sometimes something may make sense. For example, during COVID, some of the more genuine companies ensured that they did not fire people.
Mm.
Right? They may have
Mm.
made a few changes to it, but some of the others were not that, I would say, smart, empathetic. So I think it's all about using the right sensitivities,
Mm.
because finally, organizations are here for
Mm.
are going to be here for a long period of time. It is just not here and now. So it's
Yeah.
human beings, the emotions. These are not what
Yeah.
AI is able to replicate yet. I'm not sure whether
Yes.
it will ever be able to replicate the kind of emotions human beings have and some of the sensitivities that we carry. And I think that's
Yeah.
where, and HR has to be the first frontier of that in any organization. So tremendous amount of use of emotional intelligence that HR and HR professional have is extremely important to
Mm.
work along with this technology and AI as we jointly create value for the company.
Awesome. Awesome. So very love the response and the insight, and I absolutely agree with you. This now brings me to the last question. Um, uh, Give us an example of a literature or a book or a documentary. It could be anything that shaped your leadership journey, Samit.
One book and one concept which really helped me, and probably it was aligned with my values, was servant leadership. It was
Okay.
really a transformative book. It introduced, as you may know, the concepts of leadership through serving others. I really loved reading it because I think it moves from this top-down approach, which I think which was there for many years and probably exists in some companies. It servant leadership as a concept emphasized the value for empathy, which
Mm.
goes, to the previous question of AI, but the empathy and emotional quotient, right? And this talked about the importance of empathy, active listening, and commitment to the success of the other person, the people that
Yeah.
you lead,
Yeah.
and that their well-being, their growth, their development is so very important, um, you know, for the overall success of the team and the organization. I think I
Mm.
love that book. I believe that with the concepts of servant leadership, we can achieve higher levels of people engagement, satisfaction, and absolutely better organizational success.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm yet to read that book, but I will make sure that I add that to my library. Thank you for that. I think this brings us to the end of this super duper awesome conversation. It felt like I was talking to one of my colleagues when we used to be colleagues, Samit. But thanks again for joining us on this episode, and for giving us such great insights on AI and human capital management. I'm very, very sure that everyone would have taken a lot of insights from your experience and expertise that you shared today. Thanks once again.
Thank you, Pulkit, for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation and felt like old times again.
Awesome, awesome. To all our amazing listeners, thank you for tuning in to the CHRO Mindset Podcast. We hope you have found this episode insightful for your HR journey. Stay tuned. Lots of exciting discussions coming up in the weeks to come. Talk soon. Thanks for listening to the CHRO Mindset Podcast. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a review. Join us next week for another insightful conversation with a top HR leader. And if you have any questions or feedback, reach out to us on social media or via email. Thanks again for tuning in. See you next week.